What's cracking YouTube? Jamil Damji here, America's #1 real estate wholesaler. If you don't know what wholesaling is, that's where we find an ugly house, put it under contract for a very good price, and then sell our contractual rights for thousands of dollars of profit. A key to profitably wholesaling is understanding how to determine how much a property is actually worth in its as-is condition, and what it could be worth after being renovated. This is what we call ARV, or after repair value. It's very important because a lot of deals that wholesalers lock up get messed up because someone didn't know how to value the property correctly. So pay attention. Today we're going to be looking at a unique market in the United States called Palm Springs, California. In this video, we're going to talk about why Palm Springs is a unique market, what a mid-century modern architecture home is, a brief market overview of the real estate market in Palm Springs, and then we'll take a look at a few properties using a free tool called Zillow, and I'm going to show you how you can figure out how much a property is worth. Palm Springs is a very pricey vacation destination that is roughly 2 hours east of Los Angeles. Palm Springs became famous in the 1920s when it attracted Hollywood movie stars looking to escape the hustle of the city to soak up the sun, the beautiful desert scenery, and have a bustling nightlife. One of the main things that drives the economy in Palm Springs is tourism, attracting vacationers from across the country, but mainly travelers from across California, Arizona, and Utah. An interesting fact about Palm Springs is it's the date capital of the United States. And no, not that kind of date, silly. I mean actual dates, like yummy sticky dates, right? Those are delicious. In fact, Palm Springs produces 80% of the dates produced across the entire country. Also, if you're a fan of the movie Titanic, which I am, and I'm old, you might just spot Leonardo DiCaprio hanging out poolside in his mid-century modern Donald Wexler mansion. Who's Donald Wexler, you ask? He's one of a handful of famous mid-century architects who helped shape the landscape of this desert oasis. In addition to Donald Wexler, famous architect Richard Neutra, Albert Frey, John Lautner, William Crisell, William Cody, and Hugh Capter all have left their mark on this beautiful desert city. It's important to note that homes designed by these architects will sell for a premium, so doing your research on architecture style is extremely important when valuing properties in the area. I'm going to need to keep this stuff in mind when we're looking at houses later. Mid-century design typically combines natural materials with industrial accents and has what has been described as an Art Deco feel. The main aesthetic to note is that mid-century modern architecture will boast clean lines and basic shapes. Now that we know what makes Palm Springs unique, let's look at the real estate market. We're looking at stats for November 2023, and the market in Palm Springs is a buyer's market right now, meaning homes are staying on the market for longer and prices tend to be lower. The median price for a home sold in Palm Springs right now is $625,000, which is up 0.2% from last year, so not too much change there. There were 734 homes listed for sale in November, up from 649 in October. That's a 13% increase. Guys, that means it is time to buy. The average days on market is 61 days compared to last year in 2022, where the average days on market was only 38 days. That's over a 50% increase. I can tell you there are some motivated sellers in Palm Springs right now. Now let's take a look at some properties where we're going to determine their value, or what we in the real estate business call comping. Comping is where we are comparing two apples, right? Apples to apples. They got to be the same type of apple, grown from the same tree, in the same orchard, in the same time frame. You get what I'm saying? They got to be the same. I actually got a document in the description called My Appraisal Rules, which will help you as a guideline for what things to look for when you are comparing properties. The first house we're going to take a look at is 1160 East Via Alta Maria in Palm Springs, California. This property sold in November of 2023 for $1 million. Let's see what it could be worth. So if you look at the photos here, we can see classic mid-century design. You've got the flat roof, very clean lines, very minimalist, very utilitarian. Nice. Look at that. Beautiful yard. Things are tucked away. Nice long driveway. Beautiful. And we've got some pretty beautiful architecture in here, but you can see that the finishes are dated. So I would imagine that the person who bought this property is planning a massive overhaul in this property. So this would be what we would call an as-is property in original condition. We're going to want to see what this property could be worth if somebody came in, dumped a bunch of money, renovated it, and then resold it. What could they get for it? Now, many of you looking at these photos might say, what are you talking about, Jamil? This house is great. Well, yeah, it is great for the 1960s, but today we have a completely different palette when it comes to the type of kitchens, stone, flooring, paint, all of the above. Now we want to make a note that this is a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1344 square foot property that was built in, you got it, 1954. So classic mid-century. And again, when they say mid-century, they mean the 1950s. Mid-century. Get it? Mid-century, 1950s. So it's sitting on a 10,454 square foot lot. It has 2 garage spaces and central air. Interesting. Look at this. It was listed on November 16th, 2023 for $990, and it sold for $10,000 above list, meaning that there was a little bit of a bidding war here. Somebody came in and overbid on the property because they really wanted it pretty badly. So this, just based off of what I can see here, the number of days on market, how quickly it went pending, and then how quickly it sold, and for the fact that it sold above list price, this definitely was a good deal. Now let's pull in. So we can see here, this is our subject. Oh, look at this. We've got a house right down the road that sold for 1.79. Now you might say, Jamil, this house here that sold for 1.79 has 2,300 square feet. Yes, it does. But what a lot of people are doing is they're making these beautiful primary bed and bath additions, and the property that we're looking at would be ripe for that situation. Seeing as how it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, it definitely is going to need a new primary and likely another bathroom. And so you could do a nice 800 to 900 square foot primary addition, and that would get you to an ARV of $1.8 million. See, the person who bought this knew exactly what they were doing. They could probably spend roughly $200,000 to $250,000 on this remodel and come out with a huge profit. Let's take a look at what some of these finishes would be. So inside you can see they've got beautiful concrete floors, beautiful cabinetry, all very clean, very modern, very minimalistic, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is a style of house that I would definitely live in. Wow. Let's see if we can find any more justification for that $1.8 million valuation. And my goodness, what's over here for 3? Gosh, look at that. So this looks like a new build. Let's take a look. When it was, 2008. So definitely not mid-century, but this is a beautiful neighborhood. Zooming out a little bit more, we've got a 2.2 over here. This 2.2 is, again, another 3.3. So they've done an addition for a primary bed and primary bath. And looking at the year of construction, built in 1951, very similar in lot size. So guys, we've got a beautiful range of pricing over here. If somebody came in and did a great remodel on this house and did an 800 to 1,000 square foot addition, they could get up to $2.2 million out of this property. There is a massive profit margin sitting in this deal. And that's why it sold for $10,000 over list price. So you see, as a real estate investor, you could do some pretty big things if you're working in the Palm Springs area. And I'm gonna try to find one more comp just to make me feel cozy. So if you took a look at the comping appraisal rules that I have in the description, you're gonna see that I don't wanna leave a subdivision. I don't wanna cross any major roads. So like if you look here, this street right here, Avenida Caballeros, that is a major road, so I wouldn't want to cross that street. I also wouldn't want to cross Alejo Road, so I want to keep all of my comps in this little tight area. Anytime you cross a major street, you risk leaving a subdivision, and if you risk leaving a subdivision, then you're not comparing apples to apples. So an appraiser would definitely want to stay within this little square here when they're pulling their comps. We got one more comp here that I want to take a look at, this 2.1. Ooh, this is from 2021, so not even relevant. If there's anything else here, but I think we got it. And for good measure here, we've got one more 3.3, but with a smaller addition. So if you're a renovator and you don't want to do a huge addition, maybe you only want to do, say, a 400 or 500 square foot addition, you can still pop out nearly $700,000 in this house. So again, guys, this is an incredible deal for the right renovator, because if you know how to keep your costs down, you know how to access cheaper materials, but make them look super rich, you can make a killing on a property like this. All right, next we're going to take a look at 1111 North Avenida Caballeros in Palm Springs. Look at this one. 3-bed, 1-bath, 1440 square feet, sold again in November of 2023 for $808,000. Now, looking at this property, looking at the first picture, which is the front elevation, would you describe this property as mid-century? No, this is not a mid-century modern house. This is what we would call a classic traditional ranch style property. So if we're comparing it to other properties, we cannot use any mid-century comps in our comparison, because again, you can only compare the same type of property to each other, meaning we have to find a comp that is also a rancher for us to be able to determine what the ARV on this property is going to be. Looking at the interior photos, we can see that this house is dated, although it has had some updates probably in the last 20 years. Definitely livable, but not up to today's standards, especially for the hoity-toits that are going to be coming from Los Angeles looking for a lot of luxury and the same type of finishes that they enjoy in their homes in Los Angeles. But beautiful desert landscaping, a lot of potential in this house. Let's see how the listing went. So this property was listed for $888,000 in August of 2022. It went under contract fairly quickly and then sold for ooh, what happened here? Whoa. So it looks like somebody bought this property for $888,000, and then 2 months later, they sold it for an $80,000 loss. My goodness, what do you think happened here? Maybe it was the renovator who bought it and didn't want to then do the project. Maybe they got cold feet and they decided to just take a loss and run. Maybe it was somebody who was using a comparable, like a mid-century modern comparable, and they thought that this house had more value in it than it actually did. I don't know the exact story on why somebody would take an $80,000 loss in only 2 months of holding a property, but let's look at the numbers and see if we can find out why. So here we go. Here's our subject right here. Next to it, we've got an $875 sale for a 1,500 square foot house. Let's take a look at the finishes inside. So this home appears to have been updated, although not fancily. So I would almost say that this house probably is about the same level of finish as our subject. So not a comparable that will actually work for an ARV. Here is another rancher. So we can see again, you've got a pitched roof here, very classic traditional rancher. Now this is a remodel. We can see just based off of the colors, very modern colors in here. They've got, oh man, even this one, it's like old kitchen. But this one sold for a little bit more, $1.1 million, although it is slightly upgraded comparatively to our subject property. But again, I'm not gonna call this one a comp because it's not like fully renovated, right? So we're going to try to see if we can find a house here that has had a really nice remodel done to it. This house is too big. Let's go over here. Too big. Now again, we can do an addition, so that could be something that someone would do. Knowing that we've got a 3-bed, 1-bath, you probably want to do either a bathroom addition or a bed bath addition, because in today's world, a 1-bathroom house just isn't going to cut it. Now, one of the things that I don't want to do is cross this Avenida Caballeros, right? So we know that this street here is a major road. So I want to try to keep my comps to this side of the street. Here we've got a 1.895 sale. This is a ranch style house, although it is more Spanish style because it's got that clay roof. But this is a beauty. Look at it. Wow. So the interior here, again, it's kind of dated. Not terribly dated, but dated. Still this 1990s style kitchen. So not the comp for us. Let's see what else we can find. too old from 2021. And then make an adjustment over here. If you go into this little setting here on Zillow, guys, you can change when the comps are coming from. So this is like 6 months. So there's not, ooh, look at that. Everything almost disappeared when we changed to 6 months. So that's going to be more helpful for us in finding a good comparable. This one appears to be mid-century. We got the flat lines there, so we can't use that. Keep looking. Here's a 1.4, 2,500 square foot. Let's see if we can find the style. Nope, no pictures. A ranch style house, no photos though, and this sold for 1.6. Still not what I want to use. Let's keep zooming out. You guys can see it can get a little sticky in this part of the country, because you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to these things. See, this is why a lot of people, and you can see somebody just lost a schwack of money over here, because if you're not paying attention to the architecture style, you could get boned. Ooh, I think this is it, guys. 4-bed, 3-bath, 1829 square footer, sold for 1.55, but we can't find any photos. So I'm going to see if I can find pictures on another site. We'll just see if Redfin or something's got it. Ah, yes it does. This is why doing a little bit of research, man, it's important. And this is a full rehab. Check it out. Okay, nicely done. Beautiful kitchen, beautiful flooring, all the trimmings. Gorgeous. Okay, so here is our high comp. 1.55 million, 1829 square footers. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath. So you guys could see, you would have to do an addition, roughly 500 square feet. You would definitely need to add a bed and a bath. So my suggestion would be a primary bed bath addition. Now, at $880,000, and actually the person who bought it last was $800,000. If you did a $250,000 remodel, you could make $400,000 after all your fees and costs. And so I do believe that this house that was bought at that price actually is a pretty decent deal. So even though this isn't a mid-century modern home, this still has a lot of potential in it. So I'm really curious as to why that person walked away from $80,000. God knows what happened to that person. Too bad. Now, guys, just to clarify, if you're wondering how come we're not looking at the architect, it's not as important to know which architect designed it, but you have to make sure that if it is a mid-century modern home, then you can compare it to another mid-century modern home. And it doesn't matter if it was this architect or that architect, because there are going to be houses sprinkled all throughout that entire area from the different architects. So we're just wanting to make sure that we're comparing mid-century to mid-century. We probably won't know which architect it was, but as long as it's a mid-century to a mid-century, we know we're doing apples to apples. Now here we'll take a look at our final property on Vaquero Road, which if you didn't know, Vaquero means cowboy in Espanol. This is an active property. Let's see if we can get a little bit of details on it by the listing. So this is a mid-century modern home. They have labeled it in the listing as mid-century modern, and you can also see just by the design of it, right? Looking at the front elevation of this house, classic mid-century vibes. You've got the clean lines, the windows up here. Beautiful home. Be a great palette for somebody to come in and do some work. Ooh, oh, interesting. Okay, so it looks like these mid-century houses are almost renovated when you look at it, because like the classic design of the mid-1950s and these modern homes is a lot like the stuff that we like today. It's really interesting how things just kind of cycle back after some time. Like everything retro is cool again, and then it's not cool. Like when I was growing up in the 80s, neon was cool, but now it's cool again. I don't know. It's weird. So this house definitely needs a remodel. I mean, look at this range. It's just like in the middle of the kitchen like that, you know? Who wants that? So could definitely use a remodel. I don't necessarily think it needs a full overhaul, but it could use a remodel. So here is our subject. Nope. Right? Is this our subject? Yes, this is our subject. It has been on the market for 67 days, been viewed 2,000 times and only 120 saves. That just tells you that people have looked at it, but they're not liking it. And I think that's probably because that the house definitely has cool lines, but it's not finished the way that a modern family would actually want to have it finished. Now they started their price at $1,375, and they have dropped since August of 2023 to 1.25, but this sitting on the market this long tells me this house is probably overpriced. So let's see if we can find evidence of the home being overpriced. Well, here's a $1.9 million home. Whoa, okay. Does this look familiar? Look at the design of this house. It's almost identical to the house that we're looking at. What's the difference is, well, they have done a beautiful remodel in this. So you can see completely different from the other house, right? But these houses are probably built by the exact same architect. Dang, okay. Well, and there you go. There's the addition right here, right in the back. You can see that they've made this addition back here. So this is what somebody would have to do. They would take that property at 1.29. It is a 1,900 square feet. This 1.9 million is a 2,000 square footer. So you'd probably have to reconfigure the square footage in this $1.29 million house. I would still probably do a bed bath primary addition just to give it that beautiful blown out feel. You can raise the ceiling in there. You can make a lot of, new accoutrements that people are really looking for in modern homes. But this gap, this $600,000 gap, it's still not enticing a renovator to come in and buy it, although I don't believe this house is priced terribly. So when you compare our comp, which has very similar lines to our subject property here, you can see exactly what the job is going to be. We have a pool, we have a large lot, it's a mid-century house, same subdivision, same neighborhood. Based off of the way that this house is architected, it is the same architect. So you can see exactly what needs to happen in order for you to get to the $1.9 million valuation. You need a 1-bed, 1-bath, 500 square foot primary bed bath addition, and you can hit $1.9 million. So that begs the question, why hasn't this sold yet, right? Well, I guess, the market is a little bit soft right now. People are kind of holding back on projects. Maybe they're getting a little nervous, but if I was a really good skilled rehabber in the Palm Springs area, I would probably go in and make an aggressive offer on this house for like $1.1 million, probably spend anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 on my renovation. That would put me in for about 1.4, but I can see that I have a $1.9 million comp. After I pay all the real estate fees and lending costs and all the commissions and whatnot, you have a hefty profit to be made here. So if you're watching this video right now and you're in the Palm Springs area, I just identified for you a deal where you could probably make over $250,000 in profit. Don't say I've never done anything for you. There is a huge gap between some of these original homes and what the renovated homes are selling for. So if you've got good skills, good craftsmen, you can get out to Palm Springs and make yourself a fortune. If you like this video, then do me a favor, like the video. Go do that right now. Likey, yep. And subscribe to this channel, because if you don't subscribe to this channel, you won't know when I put out great content like this. And I might just look at a city or state in the market that you're working in. So if you'd like to see me get into a market that you're doing deals in right now, do me a favor and leave a comment for me and tell me where I should be looking at next. Until the next video, guys, I'm Jamil Damji, and we'll see you here again soon.